What is a leader on a mission? A leader on a mission is someone fully dedicated to social justice, community empowerment, and sustainable development. Welcome to another inspiring episode of Meaningful Work, Meaningful Life podcast, the show that empowers you to redefine the life you want and live your best life now. So, I'm your host, Francine Beleyi, and in this season 10, we are delving into the theme of leaders on a mission, where we explore the personal journeys, impactful work of visionary leaders who are making a difference in the world. Today, my guest is Olatokunbo Ige, who transformed her careers from being an international human rights lawyer to a social entrepreneur. She is creating meaningful impact through projects like Livingstones Ecovillage, UTRADER, and other ventures. In our conversation, we discussed her journey, her commitment to community empowerment, and how she's turning challenges into opportunities for others. What struck me the most with Tokunbo is her powerful belief in the potential within each of us to make a difference and how her values guide everything that she does. So if you are curious about how to align your work with your purpose and how to make a lasting impact, you won't want to miss this episode. Tune in now. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Francine. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for asking. And I'm really delighted to have you on this show. And then,
Thank you very much. It's glad to be here.
Offline about some of the great other projects that you're having. We're going to discuss in a moment. Yeah. Okay. So tell us about your background and what did you want to do when you grew up?
Thank you. Well, I guess a little bit about myself. My name is Tokunbo Ige. It's always very difficult to try and put together 6 decades of life. But in a nutshell, I'm just I was a young woman. I think I'm a little much older now, who grew up really in a family setting where all that mattered was you being able to discover who you were and to be able to run with it. So I lived in Nigeria at some point in my life, got married, things happened in life, and then I moved out. I was born in England, but then, of course, grew up in Nigeria, got married, school, a lot of things, going back and forth between the UK and Nigeria. And then eventually life happened, and then I moved out of the country, and I've been between Europe, and today I live in Togo. So I trained as a lawyer, but I spent most of my career in the United Nations and international organizations. And I retired prematurely, as they say. But it wasn't something, it was something that was I decided to, right? So I decided to because I really wanted to just sit back after a while and ask myself, what next? My life has, in its own way, had like a 5-year cycle. So every 5 years, there's something in me would just say, stop. Think, what next kind of thing. And I recall when I turned 50, I suddenly had this thing going, you know what? I'm not sure you really need to get to 65, which was my supposed age of retirement, before leaving the UN. Think about the contributions you've made. Think of what's ahead of you. Why are you doing what you're doing? And are you feeling fulfilled? So I'm also someone who has to feel fulfilled in everything that I do. And so all of these things led me to an early retirement from the UN. And today I'm a social entrepreneur. I live in Togo, an interesting shift from where I was coming from, even though I'd lived here and I'd worked here. And yeah, today I'm here now, working with young people, working with women, kind of making good my passions and turning them into small businesses and using those businesses as a way of encouraging others, to take on the battles of life and to begin to run with it. Yeah. So in a nutshell, this is who I am.
That's very, very interesting. And, I was wondering, actually, out of all the other countries on the planet, what made you settle?
What made me settle in Togo?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I mean, you know Togo. It's small. It's calm.
Which is my country of origin. That's why I'm teasing her, actually.
I know. But you see, it's you know that one thing about Togo. It's small. It's calm. There's something that actually attracts you to this country. I can't place my finger on it, but people are easygoing, and people are welcoming to a very, very large extent. It's the kind of place that, nobody really cares where you're from, or, you just, as long as you're not, you're not nasty, as long as just doing the right things, people warm up to you. So for someone like me who, I must say I'm more of a countryside person. I prefer to not be in, big cities running over the place, even though I was born in a big city, grew up in big cities and whatever. But I just love my, so for me, Togo is that place where I can pull myself and make my little contributions. And so that's, I just love it.
Yeah, definitely. Right. Togo, for those who don't know where Togo is between Ghana and Benin, is in the West.
Yeah, right.
Because sometimes in England, people, when I say Togo, people say, where's that?
I know. But it's the place to go. Just tell them it's the place to go.
Exactly. So it's really hospital. People have big hearts, actually, definitely. So tell me, Tokunbo, actually, what do you want to do when you grow up? Is there something you were dreaming about coming and or?
Interestingly, I think I don't even remember what it was that I wanted to be when I grow up.
Really?
But right now, what I want to be when I grow up is just that woman who is able to help when there's a need to help. And I guess that's why I studied law. Yeah. And that's why I studied human rights law. It must have been just behind my mind that, you must help, you must support people, you must look for the underdog, you must, do those kind of things. And if I look at what I'm doing even today, after retiring from having been a human rights professional in the UN, having done worked in the disarmament department, today what I'm doing is still linked to that, because here I am saying each and every one of us has a talent, has a purpose, and we can fulfill that purpose. And we can fulfill that purpose by doing the things that, the talents and the skills that we have, we can turn them around. You can turn a little love for music into a business. You can turn a little love for, eating right into a business. You can, you can turn even helping others into a business. Like I became a professional coach, professional trainer, and so on. So it's just about being me that, is always looking out and saying, what else can I do to contribute to to make society a better place? I'm no angel. I'm no, idealist in anything. I'm very down to earth, but I still believe that we all have a role to play in making this place a better place, this world a better place.
Yeah, I love that.
We don't need just the song. We need to do the action.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. And that's showing in everything that you're doing right now, actually. And then that link between the law, where you actually wanted to help people, and exactly what you're doing now, there is the same thread. Actually, there is the same thread going through. It's just a vehicle that is different, right? At the moment. That's so fun. Okay, tell me, what is one thing that most people don't know about you?
Maybe they don't know.
Say that small, so then I'm not going to repeat that.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. Well, those who grew up with me knew that I did theater. They know that I love to sing. But a lot of people who known me maybe in the last 40, 50 years, 40, 45 years, might not know that. Oh. What else? I don't know. Yeah, I think it's yeah. Well, yeah, I think it would be. I mean, I'm trying to. Yeah, I just love to sing. I love
sing. Do you still and in your perhaps where people don't see you or?
No, but you see the thing about it is that every time I go anywhere and people are singing, I kind of even feel guilty that I didn't take the stage to sing. Yeah, I love to sing. I just I really love to sing. I love to sing, and I love I listen to the words of songs, and I try to there's what else don't they know about me? I always think everybody knows everything about me. But I guess my love for music, meaningful music, and the wordings. I mean, I'm a fairly deep person, but I think people know that. I don't know. I really don't know. I really don't know what they don't know.
I don't. Okay. So tell me, how your childhood actually, you told me how you were born in the UK, you moved from UK to Nigeria and back and forth and all those things. How, your childhood has shaped your values and approach to who you are today and how you, carry your leadership as well.
Wow. Okay. Two things. Big tribute to my dad, who I'm the first child. And I remember my dad was always that, it doesn't matter whether you're a girl or a boy, you can do whatever you want to do. So that was great. That gave me an inner strength, backed now with my faith, to say to myself, really, if you want to do it, put your heart to it, it will happen. I know, it's like, you don't have to be a boy, you don't have to be you just be you, so I grew up knowing that I could be me, and the sky doesn't have to limit me. I can go beyond it if I feel that this is what I want to do. So that's one thing. And then the second thing, as I said, is my background, my faith background, my parents, and my grandmother, who taught me always that, God is that anchor that you need in all things. And so when the tragedies of life that I wasn't expecting happened, because I lost my father when I was 17. I was turning 17 when I was my father, first child. It was kind of, totally devastating. I didn't understand what it meant. And then I had series of losses after that. I lost my mom. No, actually, I lost my husband 31 years ago. So I'm a widow. And that's because this was my childhood friend. This was my anchor. This was my, and that. So first my dad, then my husband, then my mother before I turned 40, just as I was turning 40. So I learned early in life to cope with change. And I think all of that came from that background, even though I never bargained for these things. But, I learned to be resilient without even knowing the word resilience as a theme or as a thing that people know today. And that's why if you ask me, what are your first 2 or 3 values, I'll tell you my faith in God is my number 1 value, my quest for justice, and love for family. Because those three values have held me together: my faith, love for justice, and family. So, and those things are things that I look out for. I try in my own little way to promote, to let people understand that, you know, through all the changing seasons of life, you know, you have to have that anchor. So what's your anchor? Yeah. And it's not something that, you know, comes out of a book. And, you know, you need to know, as you live your life every day, you need to know that tomorrow something can happen and upset the apple cart. And so when I went into, for example, professional coaching and professional mentoring, it was one of the things that I just had a strong feeling that a lot of people, because I worked in human rights, and I met a lot of young people, I met a lot of even middle-aged people who was claiming to struggle for something that they themselves were not sure what it was they were struggling for. They would tell you, yes, we just want our rights, we just want our whatever. And when you dig deep, I'm not quite sure it's their rights they're looking for. It's they were not able to cope with, some of them were not just able to cope with their frustrations. And why are you frustrated? Because to a large extent, you yourself had no plan really for your life. And so it's very easy. I'm not saying, I repeat, I am not saying that governments are doing well or they're doing whatever, but a lot more people could be doing more for themselves in order to be able to cope even with the shortcomings or the inadequacies or the whatevers that, you know, we have around us, because they themselves have a plan. They're ready to struggle. They're ready to do something. But you don't have a job. You've never worked before. And then you sit down there and you continue to blame, you know, it's because of this, it's because of that, and so on. You know, and it broke me many times just to see, especially young people who joined the A bandwagon simply because they just didn't know what to do. It was their way of letting, you know, in their frustration and so on. And I repeat, I'm not suggesting at all that they had no right to or whatever, but I think that they would even have been demanding whatever they were demanding in a more responsible way if they themselves felt fulfilled in their lives.
Yes.
So when I was thinking about my retirement and thinking about what I could do, these values kept coming back to me, and I was doing the values shaped my experience and have continued to shape everything that I'm doing. So for me, there's nothing like, oh, that's difficult. Oh, that's impossible. I'm like, no. If the idea came to you, that sixth, you know, that for me, that means God has spoken to you about something. Then it must be possible. So, but nobody has ever done it before. Yeah, that's what they call innovation. He wants you to be the first person to do it. That's why he's giving it to you. Why don't you give it a try? So I always come from that background. So some people tell me I do crazy things. I come up with crazy ideas, but if an idea has come, it means it's possible. I believe that. So I then try to see, am I the one to do it? Should I be supporting somebody to do it? Should I facilitate something? What next? You know, I don't like just saying, it's not possible. What's that? Nah, let's just drop it. No. I'm not that kind of person. I'm like, if it came to me as an idea, there's something, you know, that needs to be done. Is it me who has to do it? Should I encourage somebody to do it? Or should I support somebody to do it? That's another question. But anyway, that's a little bit about how my background, my youth or my whatever shaped my life.
Yeah, I love that. I really, really love that. I love asking this question about values, because this is where you see how, you know, our values have been ingrained in us from the very, very early age. If you have that opportunity or that, luck to have been given those strong values when you were younger, is very difficult later on. I don't say impossible, but very difficult if you yourself don't start to become aware and look for, you know, understanding your own pattern and how you can improve yourself. Very, very difficult. So this is where actually people have young kids, people, bring people in this world, have to be very, very careful about the value they pronounce to people. As you say, your dad showed you that everything is possible. Hey, whether you're a girl or a boy, everything is possible. Therefore, you are still ingraining this value today in everything that you're doing. So this is very, very important. And as leaders as well, some people say, yeah, I have those values, but I'm not going to say. As you say, your faith is important. What is important to you? People have to know. People have to know as a leader. Those are the things that's important to you. That doesn't mean that you're going to impose what you believe onto other people.
Exactly.
Understand where you're coming from. You as a leader need to be vocal, need to be clear that people understand who you are, what's driving you and what actually you are looking to do. This is very, very important. And then obviously people are going to follow you based on your value, not about what you say.
And that's leadership. Exactly. That's leadership. Leadership is influence.
Exactly.
So, and that's why, I mean, it's one of the reasons why today, I think a lot of us parents, I mean, I guess my generation is fast becoming our grandparents. Parents, grandparents need to be doing more than we've been doing it over in the last few years for our children, our grandchildren, our nieces, whatever we have, because unlike when we were growing up, there's too much out there ready to influence them. And if you don't hold, interestingly, I was still talking to a friend yesterday. Her daughter, she has a boy and a girl. So the boy, goes to school in the States. And so I was saying, no, when's the little girl going? She goes, no. I think I made a mistake. My boy, I should have kept him at home till he was age X. I think she said 18 or something, and then let him go. So I'm not going to do that with this one. I'm going to imbibe those values, be there, because at the end of the day, we should be doing the 75%, not the school, and she really,
has to start at home.
It has to be there,
we can't, outsource.
Outsource, exactly. That was exactly what she said. She said, this thing of us outsourcing our responsibilities, I'm not going to do that with this one. Yeah, so I said, no, you're right, and it's just it's just talking values. It's amazing how, if you really study a human being, the transition, no matter how you transition in life, you find that the core values you grew up with, it's kind of like the water you were nurtured with, always has a role to play in what you do and what you've been doing. And I was telling my nephews, my nieces, and my daughter a few years ago about my dad, because none of them, unfortunately, because I lost him so young. And it was just amazing that him teaching us, as a Yoruba poem that says, work is the medication for poverty. It's the medication. So Yoruba, it says Ishe ni ogun Ishe. And there's a Yoruba, poem around that. So I was explaining that poem to them in English, and telling them, what it was about and everything. And the other day, my nephew, I was going to write a post. I wrote a post about him on LinkedIn a few days ago, and he just shocked me when he's in second year in the university in the UK. I did a post on LinkedIn saying, I can never give up. I will never give up. Now, what's his story? He's looking for an internship because he has to do a year of an internship, and he hasn't got more. He's gotten rejections, and he says, "I'm not going to quit." Because we've been telling them there's no such thing as you quit. Totally. I was so shocked to see his thing. I'm like, Jojo, what is this? So, but we all giving him our support and telling him, that's the way to go. Stand out there, tell people who you are, and tell them you're available to do this work. And, don't give up because you've got some rejections. Life is always about that. We're going to be rejected at one point in time, but you must be able to stand in the face of rejection and say, I'm not giving up. So, yeah.
Wow, beautiful. Yeah, definitely. As you say, as much as we can instill to these young people, the new generation, strong values, this is very, very, very key, actually. I can talk
Yeah.
value all day long. This is
I
one of
know,
my
I
passion.
know.
But let's come to the Livingstone Eco Village that I had the
Ah,
pleasure to be actually living in for a weekend when I was in Togo, I think 2 years ago. And
yeah.
this is like a paradise on earth. So if you have the opportunity to go to Togo, make sure that you head there. So what
Well,
inspired you to create an eco village? My God, this is like a real eco village. So tell me.
well, again, it's my love for nature. And of course, you know that my background, that image you see behind me is actually Ecovillage. Yeah?
That's it, the eco
So,
village,
yeah,
exactly.
so Ecovillage, I tell people that Ecovillage and everything in it is a reflection of my person, who I am, a love for nature. I just believe in the real. I believe in it doesn't, I believe in small, beautiful, peace, calm, uh, gathering your inner strength, being able to reconcile with yourself. I believe in, eating right. I just believe that, you know, the who we are was given to us as a gift, and we have to nurture that who we are. So it's body, soul, and spirit, and that to be that complete person, it's not just going to be about joining the rat race. It's also going to be about making sure you're looking after the shell in which all the inspiration, the ideas, and the hopes, the ambitions, the fears, the anxieties, everything, comes out of, in order to be able to fulfill purpose. So Eco Village comes out of that. And I believe that, nature has a special, should I say, I'm almost going to call it a medicinal impact on us that we don't never dig into.
Yeah.
As you said, Eco Village is in the middle of a small village. So it's a little village within a village. All around Eco Village, as you remember, there's activity. But when you're in Eco Village, a lot of people tell me it's almost like you're away, you're in the middle of, nowhere, and it's just peace and it's just calm. And that's what we need. Every bustling city, it would have been great that every bustling city had on its outskirts an Eco Village where you could just withdraw, go there, either as a family, either as a team, either as a group, even either as an individual, a writer, whatever who you are, and just go and reconcile with yourself with the help of nature. So yes, Eco Village is in Davier. It's all of 25 to 30 minutes from the city center, from Lomé city center, going towards the north of Togo. And today, actually, it's a 20-bedroom resort today. Maybe 2 years ago it wasn't. It was just seven.
So you have added some more.
We have added more rooms. We've added more rooms to it because a lot of people want to come there for their team building, meetings, and so on. And its peculiarity, as you can see from the background, is that it's made, they're built, you
don't need the air conditioning in there.
You don't need air conditioning in Eco Village. Even though I give you a little caveat that some of our rooms are now air conditioned, because with climate change, we had a bit of an issue when it was getting very, very hot. So we do have now a few rooms that, so you have a choice. But the peculiarities of Eco Village is that, apart from the fact that the buildings are built out of the earth, and we use everything that's local, it's also that we do a lot of recycling, and all our decoration with recycling plastics, tires, and so on. Is that we eat as much as is possible. What you eat in Eco Village is fresh. It's fresh. So we have our
I remember the juice as well.
We have the vegetable gardens, we have the natural juice. We actually have a little fish pond now. That is actually another thing that came out of just, what do we do for our fresh fish? So we have a little tilapia fish pond. What else? I mean, it's a little few things right at the left and right. Our tortoises are there. The aquarium is there for people to, just sit in front of it and watch those fishes, and it calms you down. Yeah, so that's Ecovillage for you.
So how do somebody wake up in morning and start building an eco-village? What was the first step?
Well, interesting, as I said, it was me remembering my childhood again. Holiday time, almost every year, actually. At least if it wasn't during the summer, it was during Christmas. My father would take us. Even when he was gone, my mother would drive us to our grandparents. So, I mean, the village had these type of thatch roof houses and whatever. Okay, yeah, my both grandparents of mine had cement building, whatever, but they had farms. So I kind of always was attached to those things. I remember my grandmother's clay pot in which water was like a filtering, water pot. Yes. I mean, it's one of the. I wish I'd inherited it, because now I'm trying to make one for myself. I'm trying to get people to make me one, because it just occurred to me that those things filter so well and keep your water cool. So I remember those kind of things, and these are the things that they make me tick. When things are growing. I mean, Ecovillage, as you see it, if you see it now, I'm sure you'll be like, wow, what happened here? And to think that when I started this thing 3 years ago, there was only kind of like one palm tree or one, whatever that tree is called, on that space, and it was all red soil and whatever, and it's also green. It also shows you that if you take good care of the land, we can actually green everywhere around us if we do that. So what makes you build an eco-village? When you're convinced that we could do more with what we have been given. The famous Garden of Eden that we have been given. You can see, he told us, he said we should occupy till he comes. He said, go and till that ground. So for me, that's where the eco-village inspiration comes from. It comes from my love for nature. It comes from my love for eating well. And it also comes from my love for children. And I'll tell you that little story about how, I started the Livingstones Resource Center, which eventually is the mother, in quotes, of Ecovillage. And the idea was that, in the Francophone system, there's not much of a boarding school type of life. But I started the summer program. And by the way, the 8th edition starts tomorrow in Ecovillage.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was bringing together kids from different backgrounds and whatever, to learn to live with each other, to learn from one another, and to learn their leadership skills, teaching them leadership skills, how to cope with change, how to make decisions, how to stand by the decisions you make, how to be resilient, how to, and then the other values of loving.
You are the one teaching them.
Well, I'm one of the teachers, yes, because I'm one of the teachers. I do the personal development and thing. So I sit with
I thought they were just hiring. I've seen that when I was in Lomé. I thought they were just hiring the venue. I didn't know that you were also really
No. We do a summer camp every year, and we bring kids from, even during the COVID years, we had it online.
Yes, I remember that.
Kids, from Qatar, from all over the place, who joined us. Yeah, so I think they start with a group of 12 kids, I think, tomorrow. And then, and I'm sure it will increase as the weeks go by. And so this is what it's about. This is what Ecovillage is about. It's an enabling environment. You could be a writer. You're looking for a place where you just need some calm, inspiration. You'll find it in Ecovillage. You're a family that just wants to get out of town and just be together. You'll find Ecovillage useful. You're a young couple. You just want to be with yourselves. That's it. It's just you who needs time out for you. Ecovillage is that place. So yes, that's what led me to it.
UTRADER. UTRADER is also another fascinating concept that you have put together to transform waste into wealth. Tell us more about UTRADER, actually.
Okay, so UTRADER is the abbreviation for Usine de Transformation de déchets à la richesse.
Okay.
So it's
Oh.
supposed to be a small factory to transform waste to wealth. And we focus on primarily on plastic, you know, what we call sachet pure water plastics, you know, the plastics, but plastic in different forms. But we've been working a lot on those with those little water plastics where people, you know, drink from and throw all over the place. So we have been working with tires as well. And we're progressively also moving into transforming textile waste. But anyway, it's all started also around 3 years ago, where I was just tired of seeing these plastics all over the place. And I was wondering what we could do, because a waste management scheme is not as up to, you know, what it should be globally, nationally. And as you know, plastics and all the problems that we have with it's something we can't seem to avoid, but it's something that we need to manage what happens with it. And it's all over the place. So I did a bit of research, and I realized that there were different things that different people were making out of it, and fell in love with the idea of working with, well, actually, maybe I should tell you that the tires were the first set of things. Tell you a little secret, when I was in human rights, and there'd be protests and whatever, I used to just not understand why people would put tires on the roads and burn them, and then destroy the roads. And I just like, these tires, I mean, why are people having them all over the place? So the first thing that came to my mind was, what can we do with used tires? So I started doing a lot of research and trying to see so in my mind, when I was thinking of what I would work on, tires were one of them. Just get them off the streets, turn them into something else, create jobs from that, create businesses out of it, and so on. And then came the plastic. So I put tires, plastics, you know, together. And UTRADER has been focusing on transforming them. So we make furniture out of used tires.
I've seen those tires as furniture, exactly. Yes, in the gardens.
The gardens, different things that you can make out of them. And interestingly, people are catching the love for buying them and so on. And then, of course, with the sachet pure water, we weave them, like, you know, using the traditional weaving system. So we get like a plastic piece of cloth, entre guillemets, and then that we cut, and then we can make shoes, bags, you know, different things from them. And so this is what we've been doing thus far. Wow. We're now moving into adding textile waste, because
what is textile waste? Like the abalone?
Cloth.
Is it
abalone? Like the cloth, like the pine, the cloth, you know, all the things that tailors throw all over the place.
Okay.
And you know, in Togo now we have a couple of factories that are actually making T-shirts and making it. So there's a lot of waste of textile coming from those companies, and now we're going to be also working with those with that waste. And there's a lot you can do with them. You can make bricks with them. You can turn them into, you can upcycle them into something, into clothes, into whatever, and even some type of insulation material, fiber comes out of them. There's so many things you can do with them. So do
you have like a factory that can recycle those, or where do you bring them to recycle them?
No, we actually take them. We actually take them to our site in Davier, behind Ecovillage, where we have our little factory, as we call it, and that's where we do that work. We do the work from there. Now we're working with some organizations, some associations, so that they can send people to be trained, you know, so that they pick the waste, they sort the waste, and we can train them on how to transform the waste, and they can create their own little businesses out of that. So again, it's something that I'm doing to encourage not just protection of the environment, but also the creation of jobs, of course, and of businesses, especially amongst young people. So that's what it is.
This is a beautiful circular economy, actually.
Indeed, a beautiful circular economy in practice. So that's exactly what I was saying in the beginning, that there are many concepts that we have, but you need to actually put them into practice for people to be able to understand, you know, that it is possible. to do it in a small way and then begin to grow it. And that's what UTRADER is all about.
Tell me now, so obviously, what are you most proud of? What is one of the big success out of those things you are proud of? And also, at the same time, think of what is the biggest challenge that you are facing as well. First,
Okay,
let's start with the successes that you are very proud of.
Okay.
No modesty here.
I know. No modesty here. No, but I think it's the ability to be able to help the younger generation, or people who feel that all hope is lost, to be able to bring them back and tell them, no, all hope is not lost. And I have a couple of those people around me, young people, a young woman who became a mother before she knew what was going on in her life. And today, she's actually standing on her feet, and, the so-called shame of the past is no longer in her, in her psyche. Or some younger people who who I saw talent in them, and I try to encourage them to, go for it. And today, they're standing on their own. I think those are the things, these things that a little bit of impact in the lives of one or two, three, 4, 5, 6 people, or people who just meet you and say, oh, thank you for what you did for me the last time. And I'm thinking, what did I do for you the last time? Because I've totally forgotten. And they say, I know, I asked you a question and you gave me advice and I did that. Okay, good. So that those little things, for me, that's fulfillment. And so now let's go to the challenges.
Let's go to the challenges.
And
challenges?
I'm one of those people that I think we should all have a mettre le main sur la pâte, quoi. Let's just get rolling. Let's just so it's challenging when you have to spend time trying to convince someone that it's possible. But it's something I've also learned, and I've been trained to learn to accompany. So yes, it can be very challenging, trying to get the new generation with all the acronyms, Gen Z, Gen X, this generation and that generation, just to bridging the intergenerational dialogue gap is something that's been on my mind, and it's something that I found very challenging, because society seems to be evolving in such a way that once you're past the age of 45, 50, nobody wants to talk to you anymore. So you're getting a lot of frustrated people at that end, and young people who, just because they can, come up with an idea that's not based on an experience, run into it, and then they collapse in the middle of it, and the two groups don't talk to each other. For me, that's a major challenge. Then the right, having the right mindset is a major challenge. I mean, you're Togolese, you live in Togo, and it's not just a Togolese thing, but there are many people who just don't have, that mindset of, let me get up, let me go, let me, I can. And so when you're an I can, nothing is impossible person, trying to herd the cattle can be pretty frustrating. But again, what on the flip side for me is that it challenges my leadership, should I say my leadership capacity. And so I'm looking for the next response to it. And I give you a little example. As you know, because I do training on leadership and so on. I ventured into entrepreneurship, not because I sat there and I said I want to be an entrepreneur. I just wanted to have my little ecovillage, do my thing, eat my vegetables, be happy, entertain people if they came, train people. That was it. Now, today, I am a business angel because I needed to go and train to be a business angel so that I could support up-and-coming entrepreneurs who have had difficulty moving from what you call the seed or the pre-seed to scaling up their businesses. And they're scared of going to the banks. They're not sure what will happen if they go into, venture capital invest. They're not even investment ready. So we need to prepare them for that. And I researched, again, I found out that, there's some people called business angels. And I, took my time and got certified by 2 business angel communities, the World Business Angel Forum and the African Business Angels Network. I did the trainings, did the courses. And today, today we have a Togo Business Angels Network, which I hope you will join. Yeah, because even those of you in the diaspora should join us. And, this has helped us and is helping us as I've moved with about almost 100, actually they're more than 100 young entrepreneurs, male, female, to create the first indigenous Togolese supermarket called Togo Mall.
Where is it going to be?
It is there. It's not going to be. It is there.
Where?
Actually, I sent you the link. It's in the SETEF. We have half of the pavilion Mono.
Really?
And it was opened. Yeah, it was opened in November last year by the Prime Minister.
Oh, and, you waited for me to leave to open that.
Yeah, I know. But you can. We have a LinkedIn page. You can check us out there.
Wonderful.
So in that supermarket, everything we sell is made in Togo. So it's created an opportunity for young entrepreneurs who can't get their goods into Champignon or Ramco or whatever to have a decent place where people come. We are 5 minutes from the airport. So if you're in transit in Togo, you can always come to us. We're 5 minutes from the airport. And so just by creating Togo Mall with over 100 entrepreneurs, we realized that a few of them could have better quality products, not in terms of the quality of the products, but maybe the packaging and so on itself. Togo, that people do good farming and do good agricultural, whatever. But the packaging might not be so attractive and so on to be competitive and so on. So being in Togo Mall, we're learning to work together. We're learning to, accept criticism, healthy criticism, so that we can improve. So it's actually, I'd like to call Togo Mall not even a supermarket, but a practical incubator or accelerator, if you want. So we have different types of people, founders who are in the mall. And, that has, again, so one thing is leading to the other, you see. But then what is good is that I'm able to find one person, 2 people, 3 people who will run with the new part of the new thing that crops out of this quest to see our economy grow, to see our entrepreneurs really, really being, stable, to be able to, in 10 years, turn around and say, I actually did establish a business, not a business that crashes because they don't have access to funds, they don't have a market, So that's the, how should I say, this is the way in which the mindset, of we can innovate, we can move to the next level. There's always a solution to every problem. That mindset has helped me, and I believe it's now beginning to help others that I'm sharing that with. And I mean, I believe in working with others a lot. I believe very much in it. I hate silo working. I mean, I don't know why, but I just love to have people. But a lot more people prefer, I don't know, it's just me and I have to do it myself. But we're beginning to teach that, not in a theoretical way, but more from a practical way. We're not passing knowledge through the ages. We're not telling our stories well enough for even our own children to understand. On a normal day, I wouldn't want to do this podcast. I would say, Francine, I don't want everybody to, why should I be out there? But today I have learned that, well, if I don't tell the story, then if somebody tells it in the wrong way, I shouldn't be upset.
Exactly.
And that's what, and then, Francine, you recall the Nana Benz of Togo.
Of course.
How many countries had a Nana Benz in our lifetime? Women who stood up and said, we will support our country at a time that there was an economic crunch, at a time that there was a difficulty. So again, it's us being able to write our own narratives stand by them, show them, prove them, and develop them and pass them on to the next generation.
Pass them on to
Because
the next generation.
now
That's
we
the
hear
thing.
that
It
thing.
seems there has been a gap in between.
Exactly.
Yes, there is a gap.
When I started talking to, when people ask me, where do you live? And I'm like, I live in Togo. I remember Togo. We used to go there in the 90s. We used to go to, they had one hotel called, what's the name of that hotel? Total. I'm like, yeah. I'm thinking, wow. So because I recall that everyone who did French in university, secondary school, most people secondary school, university in Nigeria in the 90s had to come to Togo. Not to Benin. They went to Togo for their, kind of a year abroad or year whatever, if you couldn't go to France. And most people couldn't go to France. So, there was that connection. So to say, Togo is small and therefore, no. It's in our minds. Actually, this country has had its own role to play and will continue to. Even today, when you look at the impact of, the Togo port, the Askai Airlines, the Eco Bank, you see that Togo is kind of like a hub, in West Africa for economic, development and so on and so forth. And that needs to be brought back into the psyche of the young people to say, no. Actually, a lot of great things have come out of here. We just need the stories to be told and to be told. And I think this is where we have a responsibility.
Yeah.
Because we are the ones who have experienced those things, and we must be able to be able and willing to tell those stories so that not just our kids understand it, but other people who are ignorant about what has happened, what our countries are about, and what our peoples are about.
Yeah, you pointed out something very, very important, and I think that is important to stress that we have to tell our story, and then if we don't tell it, when other people tell it and you were not there to tell it, don't be upset. I love that, because sometimes you give the opportunity, or you try to give the opportunity, and then people don't take it. And you say, don't be upset if somebody else take it and tell your story, right? So make sure, everybody out there, make sure that you get the opportunity to tell your story in any way, shape, and form, because, and yes, because that actually inspired the new generation. It makes sure that the knowledge gets transferred, and then role model, people like seeing people. You can say, of course, they can still get inspiration from everybody else, but if they see somebody who look like them, is even more impactful. So for me, it's very, very important that, in anything that I do, I try to give like a multiple perspective. So then you don't just come from one place of view, but you come from multiple place of view, because that's what makes us rich, when we can understand like a multiple perspective. So very much, thankful for pointing that out actually as well, and then the all past background as well. So tell me, you also attended the Invest Her Summit to talk about, you becoming a business angel, which is great actually. So we all know how it's difficult sometimes to, raise funds and things like that. What did you share at the Invest Her Summit, and how can we actually make sure that especially women get access to funds? I wrote a chapter in the book, actually in Routledge, fostering prosperity for African women. One of the challenges in the book that I was explaining is access to funding in Africa, specifically. In general, women, even in US, in UK, women have, difficulty to access to funding, and in Africa. So tell me, what did you share, and what was some key lessons that you learned from there?
Yeah, actually, the Investor Summit in Dublin was an interesting eye-opener for me. Eye-opener in the sense that, there's a lot of big meetings taking place all over the place. Everybody's talking about the same thing. There's investment funding. But what was particular and peculiar about the Dublin meeting was, first, it was small. It was focused. It was very clearly an Invest Her Summit, in the sense that, it was about women, access to funding. We had great practical participants, who had experience, both from being a founder and for being a funder. And it was good to see to be in a room where you could actually do, discussions, between potential funders and so on. And now we were a group of African women. I think there were like 10 of us who participated in that meeting. And I recall being asked to talk about our perspectives, what we saw, and share our thoughts on this. For me, the one thing that just came out was women are women wherever they are in the world. We're all suffering the same things. And we need to pull together more, which was very clearly what Dublin was about, that the Investors Summit in Dublin was about. And it's also about actually looking for concrete things to do. There's a lot of talking, but you need to start somewhere, and you need to start small. And if you have to start small, you start small, and then it can grow, but start. And so for me, it was important that we were able to say, don't make sure whatever you say is global is actually global. Global to the extent that you actually have people from the different, parts of the world to share their experiences, but to also build the bridges. So the building of the bridges for me was, kind of like the highlight of Dublin, of the Investors Summit that took place in Dublin. And we're looking forward to, personally, I met a couple of people that we are discussing already, Claire, whom I met, who runs the Thea Healthcare, which is a Dublin-based business where that she does reusable sanitary wear, and that's menstrual poverty is a reality in many parts of the world and in Africa. So that's something we're already looking at. And earlier on, I talked about textile waste. She uses textile waste as well as bamboo material, fiber made out of from bamboo. We have bamboo in Togo. So there's perspectives, to look at in terms of taking that kind of business forward. So for me, it's not always, there was opportunity to have cash on the table for some people that needed, but it was also the possibility of building relationships, widening your network, across continent in order to be able to pull together, right, and make our businesses bigger. And we all talked about the same problems. We do the best work. Everybody says it. Women manage money, but they don't want to take a risk. I don't know why they think we are the risk. We are the risky ones. But anyway, that's part of it. But again, we have to tell our story as women. We have to change the narratives, and we have to be out there at all times. So yes, that was what Dublin was about.
Yeah. Do you have any tip or one of us or reflection or something that you think that could advance women to narrow this access to funding gap? Actually, what is one thing that you've noticed perhaps that is preventing women to access funding most of the time?
Actually, I think apart from I think women creating funding, what do you call them? Funding mechanisms is in itself important. So like the fund, there's a fund which comes out of that is created by the founders of the Investors Summit. We have to have our own pockets of funds as well. We have a lot of women who have money, who haven't thought about creating a bank or creating, so now that we're having women focused funding tools and mechanisms, you would see that, and you would see that other people will come on board when they see that this woman's business has grown from this to that and this to that. Then banks will start running after women. Then other people will start saying, no, it's not as bad as we thought before. So the fact that women themselves are deciding to put their own money where their mouth is already great. I think that is, and they're doing it in such a way that the kind of red tape that is put by other I mean, they have to do due diligence and all those things, but some of the silly little red tape that are put in the way that becomes an obstacle, I think they try to remove that. And of course, gender lens, when you're funding or doing anything with a gender lens, there are certain things that you see. There are certain things that you let go. There are certain things you do because you know that this just has to be for a woman to thrive in what she's doing. And when you have that, for me, it's practical, it's real, and you can actually empower women by doing those things. And so for me, that's so we need to keep that in mind. So let's come together. Let's start, many more women funded, women only, or women funded, or women funding business angels groups. Let's have more of those.
Yeah, I've noticed that here in the UK as well. There's more and more women investors, women VCs, and women actually focusing only on women-led business.
Women.
And again, because in the past it was like, I don't know, even it was even 1% of women who were investors. Obviously, there were that kind of gap. So now that women themselves are also becoming investors, I think that the gap is going to start narrowing itself. More and more, because now, and also the fact that, women run businesses are performing awesomely as well. So, they are the women business, they are run really well. They see that also during leadership, during COVID, countries that were led by women perform better. So they can see quite a lot of, evidence today that, and also in diversity as well. So when you have, both, you perform way better than, just having men. Wonderful. So let's talk about, just before we get to the last part, in offline, you were also talking about this farm that you have added. Can you tell us about the farm? Because I just wanted to see the kind of farm that came to join the eco-living system, ecosystem, actually.
I know. The ecosystem and the farm. Well, as I said, I love to plant what I eat and eat what I plant, or grow what I eat and eat what I grow. I love to make sure I'm not, as much as possible, not eating chemically grown food. And that's what's led me to, I guess there's also farming in my blood somewhere that, I love to do a little bit of agriculture here and there. And so now I am, we've actually started an integrated farm. Initially, I wanted it to be urban, but it's semi-urban. It's about 10 hectares, 11 hectares of land. And it's an integrated farm in the sense that it's using the waste from, chicken for feeding fish, and from cow dung to, everything that is usable on the farm is used to farm and make sure that the food remains organic, that we don't introduce any chemicals, that we don't use any chemical fertilizers, and that you learn the different types of farming that's possible. So yes, aquaculture, precision farming. We farm using the soil, but we farm also not using the soil. So we do a bit of soilless, we'll do a bit of farming, and it's also an opportunity. We create an opportunity for people to train and to develop, a little bit beyond just planting, but also in terms of access to market and recycling, and or should I say upcycling, even of what you can't believe that it's dramatic. That the yellow, those Togolese local mangoes, the yellow ones.
Yeah.
I so love these. Yeah, those small ones. I so love these mangoes. They're juicy, they're everything. But 90% of the people are looking for the greffé, as they call it, the one that has. And I'm like, so these mangoes during the mango season,
Yeah.
it's all over the place.
All over
And,
the place.
you know, and people are even walking over them. And we say we are hungry.
That's true.
Come in, you know? So for me, who makes juice, I need to work with those who are growing those mangoes, or those mangoes are growing in their vicinity, to say, you know, there's a business opportunity here. And then take them through that process and get them involved in it. You know, pepper, tomatoes, you know, pepper, how you can have the habanero or any of these types of peppers that at some point, you know, they don't have a market for them, and then, you know, it's going to rot away. No, we're not going to let that happen. We're going to dry them. We're going to turn them into pepper oils. We're going to do different things with them. So it's in that mindset that it's all with that in mind that the aqua farm is being developed. And because of my love for ecotourism, again, it will be like a bigger version of Ecovillage, but on a farm setting.
Yeah.
So stay tuned. Stay tuned. 2025.
Stay tuned. What's next? Anything else after the farm? What is in your head? You wake up in the morning, think of something, and make it happen. I love that so much.
Well, it's pulling people to. I mean, I've 6 vibrant young guys on the farm. A couple of them had even trained in Israel. Government had sent them. They were part of schemes that government, the government had sent some young people to Israel to learn precision farming, to learn different types of farming. And some of them came back, really didn't do anything. And a couple of them, I have them there on the farm. And so it's that nudge for empowerment. It's that nudge to remind all of us that agriculture is not just about, you know, a cutlass. It's beyond that, because it's actually life. This is it. This is life. You know, if we really want to live healthy, it starts from we are what we eat, yes, as they say. So what are we eating? So again, that's where it all comes from. And as we do
chemical that, and really grown up,
and as we do that, you can live sustainably, because you can actually create a business around, you know, a 1 plot or 2 plots of land, doing a bit of growing on the sand, having a couple of chickens, and also being using bamboo or old buckets and whatever to grow things, you know. So you can grow upwards. Growing now doesn't necessarily have to be, you know, horizontal. It can be vertical. You can combine both on a small piece of land, and you will be able to survive. You do your own little vegetable garden. You do a truck even with your neighbors. You know, I have carrots, you have potatoes. Take some carrots, I give you some potatoes, and we're happy eating.
Exactly, like we used to do in the past. My gosh, you are a woman of action. I really, really love that. Let's finish up with this last part, which is the 3M. So this is, you know, tell me, what gives you meaning in your life? First of all, if we start with meaning, what gives you meaning? Where do you get your meaning from?
Well, I get my meaning from everything I told you. Receiving an idea, because I always think that it's a gift. It was given, and being able to run with it, and being a blessing in that process. So it's not about me. It's about, to a large extent, it's about us. One being able to help the other, and then, you know, and for me, that's life. That's life. I need to put body and soul together. Important. That's a reality. But there are excesses. There's something that I don't need, that somebody else needs, and there's something in me that I have been given that is not just for me. That's where I get my meaning from, really. And it's all linked also to my faith, really. It's faith inspired. It's knowing the John 3:16, for those who know what scripture says. God so loved the world, he gave. So if he could give, and he gave his most precious gift, if he could give, why not? Who am I? What do I have? What's in my hand? Well, how can I give in that process? So really for me, that's what it's about.
That's really, really inspiring. So now let's talk about money. So you have £1 billion today that you have been inherited or won a lotto or something. So what would you do with that, and how would you spend your days?
Well, I'm sure if I had £1 billion or I don't know, whatever, now I'll scale up all those businesses and create more. You know, I have a dream of, flourishing cottage industries that strengthen communities and open up access to markets. You know how you just imagine, my farm is in Avitono, for example, and I just want to see the farm in Avitono impact on the community and turn Avitono into something else. Deviate the, same thing. So if I did have £1 billion, that's what I would be doing. I'd be putting it into, from one thing creating, and I saw that with Ecovillage. When I remember when we were constructing Ecovillage, there was nothing around us. If you get to that place today, it's a hub of activities.
Yes.
People because of Ecovillage have created some other types of businesses, that people need, the one who's selling a recharge card for telephone, the one, and you're thinking, wow, just out of there. So for me, that would be what it would be about, really. I'm sure my first thing would be, put this in this one to grow create that factory to be able to, and whatever. It would be that for me. And then eventually, of course, because at the end of the day, really, COVID taught us a lesson, and that lesson resonates in me. If you have 700 dresses, you have clothing for 2 years. So you can afford to not even wear one twice. But at the end of the day, if you have nowhere to go with it, what's it about? Can you remember how your shoes came out after COVID? Some of them you even had to throw them away because you couldn't wear them. They were not there, and those of us who live in humid countries, the shoes, it's all those things. So I think it taught me a lesson personally about, these things we are collecting all over the place.
Yeah, that's true.
And and then you find that, and it's just that lesson in finding your level of satisfaction in beyond material things, and just thinking of the common good, and the common whatever. It's not an idealistic thing. It's what we should be doing, because at the end of the day, that's what it's going to be about. Looking for the perfect world, is that what you're doing? I don't know if that's what it is, but all I know is that we could be doing better. It could be better than what it is. So if I had those resources, I'm sure that's where I'd be going. I'd be expanding business and creating everything that I need a funder for today, and I don't have that funder. So yeah, I'll be, Togoban will have a lot of money to distribute to more women founders so that they can export their palm oil and export their, and create not just do the groundnuts, but also make groundnut oil, and, because that's what they need resources for.
Exactly.
So for me,
that's beautiful.
I'm sure that I'd be running around, doing that.
Just spending, just spreading the money. How much do you need? How much do you need? How much do you need?
and building, I just want to see factories. I just want to see people engaged, man. Anyway, that's my dream.
Okay, so tell me, what actually do you want to be remembered for?
Doing my own part. She did her bit. there lies the remains of Olatokunbo Ige. She came, she saw, she conquered, and did her bit.
I love that. She made her bit. Okay, tell me, Tokunbo, where people can actually, before we go there, knowing what you know now, what is your parting advice for those looking to do meaningful work and live a meaningful life?
I think the first thing I would say to them is they should define what meaningful means for them. You must know yourself in order to grow yourself and to be able to do anything with yourself. So it's important for people to sit down and say, this is who I am when nobody is there. And be comfortable in your own skin so that you're not there trying to be somebody else or trying to run after somebody else. I must be able, I told you I did a bit of theater. I must be comfortable with my script and follow my own part and do my bit. Beyond that, I think it's vanity. I think that's what it is. So for me, it's you just know yourself, know your strengths, know your weaknesses, make sure your strengths can take you far, and work on your weaknesses, especially when they're of a nature where it's related to your character and it's affecting negatively what you do. When it's related to skills, talents, or whatever, I don't know how to do accounting or whatever, there's somebody else who knows what to do about that. So let them do that, and you focus on what you can do. So for me, that's where I am at. That's where, and I'm comfortable with where I am at. I'm grateful to God for thus far, because I can't be everything to everyone. What I can do is what I'm doing. I might not be doing what everybody thinks I should be doing, but I believe that I am doing what I was called to do. So for me, I moved my life by the grace of God beyond a career to a calling. And as I always tell people who do trainings, personal development trainings with me or whatever, I always tell them, if you're sitting down there trying to build your life around a career, you've lost 2/3 of your life, if not more. Because between 2/3 and more than that is what is our real person. You go to work and come back and build a company and build a whatever. At the end of the day, they ask you, why are you doing this? It's for my children. But your children can't recognize you. They don't know what you do. They don't even know why you're running all over the place. And then when they ask your child, what does your father do? He goes to work. What does he do? What does your mom do? She goes, he wakes up and goes to work. What is it? So I think, again, it goes back to values. My faith in God, my love for justice, my love for family. And everything else rotates around that.
That is so beautiful. That exactly. I love really the fact that know yourself is one big of your advice.
You need to know yourself.
In my work as well, that's the first pillar that I have, know yourself, and very important. And that sometimes can take us a long time to work on. But once you know yourself, everything is, given, that's it. You're not going to waste your time anymore. You're going to just go for it. But that is very important. Thank you so much for stressing that. So now tell us, where can people reach you and learn more about you and your work?
Well, the only real social media where I can say I'm present and active is LinkedIn. I have an Instagram page. But everything is just Olatokunbo Ige. Once you type that name in, you'll find me there. And then of course the different businesses, Ecovillage, UTRADER, my consulting firm, TI Consulting, Togo Mall, which I coordinate with the 90 something other people. Yeah, so that's it. But type in Tokunbo Ige, Olatokunbo Ige on
You are
LinkedIn.
foundable, of course.
I am findable. Indeed.
Wow,
Findable
thank
indeed.
you so much, Olatokunbo, for your brilliant advice, the work you are doing, living your purpose, and for this insightful conversation as well. So I really thank you for this.
Thank you. Thank you, Francine, for the opportunity. Thank you to the listeners. I hope it's been helpful. And I hope together we can continue to move this world the way we desire it. And especially for us in Africa, we must be the ones writing our own narrative. Thanks a lot.
Thank
Thanks.
you. Thank you. Did you like this conversation? What was your key takeaway about this episode? So let me know in the comment below, and make sure you subscribe to this podcast on your favorite podcast platform and YouTube so you don't miss any episodes. And to hear more incredible stories and get the show notes and other free resources, visit francinebeleyi.com/podcast. That's Francinebeleyi.com/podcast. And I will see you next week for another episode of Meaningful Work, Meaningful Life podcast. Until then, dream, act, and make an impact. Lots of love.